So my name is Dan David, and when the chairperson left a few months ago, somehow they decided I should be the chairperson. I'm not sure why. But I worked for DEC for 33, 34 years, but I was in the environmental quality end of things. So I was in air and then solid hazardous waste, and then I retired from Buffalo, and I was overseeing all of the pollution programs, basically. So unfortunately, some of what we do here is really not stuff I'm familiar with, but I guess they decided since I was in charge of something, I should be in charge of something. So anyway, that's me, and we've lived in Irondequoit for just over 15 years now, so over near the bay. So.
I'm George Van Arnold. This is my first night here. A lot of people call me Benzo. I guess that's worth mentioning. Contraction of my middle name. I've been in Irondequoit a little over 3 years. Originally from North Carolina, and I'm an engineer for ACES Energy. I do geothermal design and post-sales support.
Gary Adams, been around Irondequoit.
Turn the mic on, Gary. Sorry. There you go.
Yep. Gary Adams, been around Irondequoit, I can't tell now, 20 years or so, something like that. Grew up Rochester, Western New York area. I was on the conservation board 3, 4, 5 years ago, something like that. For work, I do technical leader, so like engineering, maintenance. I manage wastewater plants at work, industrial, food manufacturing. I've done conservation where I grew up in Leroy. I'm on a board there. We got some 400 acres of like forever wildland that I see. So just, excited to be back. This is my second meeting, so this year.
I'm Alex. The last meeting was my first meeting. I have my bachelor's degree in animal behavior, conservation, and a background in conservation education. I've been in Irondequoit for 4 years now, and I own a cat and dog training business.
So I'm Patrick Levy. So I grew up in the city of Rochester on the border of Irondequoit, but I've been a Irondequoit resident for the last 4.5 years for work. So I'm an attorney. I'm a part owner of a litigation law firm downtown, and this is my second meeting on the board.
Cool.
My name's Scott Davis. Lived in Irondequoit my whole life. I work for the town. I've worked for the town for a little over 17 years. I'm a foreman. I'm a certified arborist, so I oversee the tree department, the cemetery, solid waste, brush pickup, and a bunch of other random things. I've been helping out with the board for, I think, a little over 2 years. That's my story.
Michelle Nichols. I work for the town, lifelong resident as well. Been on the conservation board as the secretary for quite some time now, and help with the recruitment and everything else.
Okay. Cool. All right, so I don't know if there's any changes to the agenda that anybody would want to suggest, or
Do we want to talk about the new freshwater wetlands regulations that came out?
yeah, we could do that. I was going to bring something up later too.
Okay.
And Michelle, you said you were going to forward some things from the DEC to everybody. I mean, I noticed that in last month's. It said you're going to forward information you received from DEC regarding the new wetland regulations.
And I did not do that.
Not that I've seen.
Shoot.
But the other thing I was going to mention is the Air and Waste Management Association. It's just a professional association that's been around for quite a while. And the Genesee Finger Lakes chapter is having a meeting on February 25th. They've had their meetings this year downtown at the Harder Seacrest offices downtown, but it's going to be on the DEC wetland regulatory changes this month. So I'll be there and I'll try to get whatever I can from the meeting, but if anybody, it's open to anybody who wants to go, so if anybody else wanted to register, I can forward this email to everybody and
What's the
you
date?
can take a look at it. The 25th, it's a Tuesday. It's a luncheon meeting. So
Is that a Zoom meeting?
No, it's a in-person meeting at, like I said, at Harder Seacrest in the Bausch and Loam Tower downtown.
Okay, hang on a second, let me get that in the minutes here. So this is on the freshwater wetlands?
Yes, that's the topic this month is, there's a person named Shelley Sova. I think she's, let's see. I think she's with Barton and LaJudas, I'm not sure. And she's doing the presentation on the wetland regulations. So it would be, if you wanted to attend, it would probably be $35, but that includes a luncheon as well, so, and it's free parking. So, so I guess we do have enough people to vote on last month's minutes, I guess, right?
Yeah, hang on one
Oh,
second,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
On the 25th, on 2/25, 2025.
Yeah, you can have that if you want.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to find the link, because there was an online webinar that I thought I could have sworn I forwarded.
About
Oh.
the DEC?
Yeah,
That was
regarding,
on the Facebook page.
uh,
I watched the webinar.
I watched the webinar too. When,
Okay, all right, I guess, I think you did forward that to everyone, but
Oh,
I
okay.
wasn't able
oh, okay.
to attend that, but yeah, I think it went to people and, we said if somebody wants to attend it, feel free.
Yeah, so that was free and that was very informative, I thought.
It was, yeah.
I thought it was very
Okay.
informative. I believe, I can't remember the lady's name right now, but,
So that was probably a DEC employee that did that,
Yeah,
Correct.
It was a couple of,
people from Albany.
Albany people. I can't think of their names.
I can't either, but I probably have it in my calendar. That's what I'm thinking.
But if you want to talk about it now or later, it doesn't matter to me.
Well, I guess, first of all, I skipped over public input. I don't know do we have public input, or?
I think she's just observing.
You have
Are you
anything?
observing?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
sorry.
Okay.
Here it is. It was on January 15th, but I will copy this link and email it right now
Okay.
in case anybody else would like to.
Oh, so it's still available, you think?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, was it recorded?
I
or-
think they did record it, yeah.
Paste.
Okay, so I guess even though it's a good lunch, I'm not sure anybody wants to spend $35 to come see the same thing again, but,
Okay. I just want to make sure I got that in there.
okay. All right, should we approve the minutes and then talk about,
Sure.
talk about that? All right, so I guess we have copies from Michelle in our package here of both the December and the January minutes. So I guess I'll take a motion to approve the December minutes
Motion.
in the second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the January minutes. I'll move we approve the January minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All
I
in
thought we were
favor?
doing January.
Yeah.
I wasn't at December, so.
Oh,
That's a,
Oh.
that's a
Oh,
good point.
So-
should we only, okay,
I was also not here December
Correct,
then.
me too.
the only person who was at the December meeting is me.
right, so just January
All right,
then.
so just January then, you were right.
Okay.
Motion to approve the January minutes.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, and I think we seconded it and voted on it already, but there we go. Okay, and I assume no correspondence then?
I do not have any correspondence.
Okay, so the new business, I guess, is, you said
The
we
wetlands,
should.
yeah, I watched it, it was very informative. The short of it is they're basically changing the way that they, delineate wetlands pretty much. So all their maps that they have now are strictly reference.
Okay,
And so it's gonna be complicated to kind of regulate, at least for like our EPODs and stuff, because we specifically reference the DEC wetland maps.
Right.
And that's how we delineate our wetlands. So they're using their wetland maps for strictly reference. And if you have an area that you think is a wetland, or you can still use the maps, they're still available, so you kind of know if you have a wetland, but in order to truly find out if you have a DEC regulated wetland, you have to do this thing called a jurisdictional determination to delineate if you have a wetland on your property. And that means that in order to apply for any DEC article permit, somebody from the DEC has to come to your property and delineate if you indeed have a wetland on your property or are within the 100-foot buffer. You can't just look on the map, hey, this is my parcel, the map falls on my property, I need a permit because it says I have a wetland.
okay,
So, I guess the way that they're delineating that is any wetland area of 12.4 acres or more are considered regulated wetlands. But there's also unusual important wetlands, and those are considered urban wetlands, which fall under us. And a bunch of other criteria. Vernal pools is one, which I thought was pretty cool. They're basically like ponds that are in the woods where amphibians go and lay their eggs and stuff, and now those are considered wetland areas, so I think that was neat. I still don't know how it's gonna play out with them not really taking like charge of the maps. I don't know. I don't see
Okay.
why they wanted to do it. Maybe they didn't wanna go through the entire state and make new maps because it was just such a big undertaking, or if it's just easier to just figure out who wants a wetland by who wants to do anything in those areas.
okay. Yeah, I think I had mentioned once a few months ago that I saw an article in the Buffalo News that also some people from Lake Chautauqua group were confused because they said under the new regulations, parts of the lake would actually be wetlands as well.
Okay.
And they were used to dealing with weed areas and stuff in the lake, and now they felt like they would have to get different types of approvals
Yeah.
or, so yeah, it sounds like it's gonna be even more confusing than wetlands have always been.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they are including vernal pools, because I think, if I recall, those are like seasonal,
Yeah,
right?
that's-
They're only
that's
there
what
in
I
the
thought,
spring,
too.
right? So, does it like depend the time of year whether it's considered a wetland?
That's a good question. I know that in order to delineate a vernal pool, they actually have to send out a DEC officer and they have to test the waters to see if there's eggs in there,
Oh,
which
Yeah.
I guess would only be in the spring
uh-huh.
or maybe fall as well. I guess it depends on the life cycle,
Uh.
but if they, I most of the vernal pools I've seen are seasonal, like you said.
Right,
just
right, yeah.
in the spring when it's wet.
Right.
There's a lot of gray area and there's a lot of questions. I think that's why they're having all these webinars and seminars to kind of explain what they're thinking.
Okay.
Is the purpose to add more protection? Sorry. Or remove them?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Because it's weird if you're like thinking, according to this map and what I see, I have a wetland. But then the DEC might come in and say, no, you don't?
I don't think it's going to go backwards.
Gotcha.
So they said that anything that's on the maps, the reference maps now, are going to stay wetlands because
Oh.
they're not going to change.
Gotcha.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have a wetland until they tell you that.
Right. I think it's gonna be a little stricter.
I hope so.
I think it's gonna be, yeah.
I think it's a way that they can include other things that aren't included in the maps without truthing the entire state. But it's kind of putting it on the resident to offer up that they have a wetland and
Right.
ask for a delineation,
Right. Oh, okay.
more or less. But what we do in town is aside from DEC regulations, so our E-pods supersede DEC regulations or work in concert with the DEC regulations. So they're not one and the same. So even though they say that you can do this in a wetland, if our E-pod says you can't, you still can't. So when we're looking to rewrite our E-pods, it's something to think about, how we're going to delineate our wetlands, because right now we're just referencing the DEC maps, which are going to change, whether we ask for a DEC delineation and that's how we consider it a wetland. I would think that'd be the easiest way.
Yeah.
Well, if development were to occur within a wetland, they would need to contact DEC first,
Yeah.
obviously, right?
So they would
And then-
also need an Article 24 DEC permit
24,
as well as a EPOD permit.
correct.
So they would need to jump through both hoops.
If it was a wetland.
Yeah.
I don't see how we could, I don't know, I haven't read our code in a long time on wetlands with E-pods and if it would need planning board or not, or, I mean, what if DEC comes back and says it's not a wetland, they're okay and don't need an Article 24 permit, so you're thinking that they still would need an E-pod permit from the planning board?
Depends how we delineate it. If the
Yeah.
DEC says that it's not a wetland and we're referencing the DEC's decision,
Gotcha.
but this might help us,
Turn this off.
like, the Titus Ave. Did you walk that property with us? The Boer property?
No.
We walked it and you were up to your ankles in mud and there was aquatic plants and stuff, and we spoke our minds about the property, and it wasn't on the DEC's maps, so it didn't fall under their jurisdiction, and we asked for help from Labella, and in their opinion, from aerial maps, they didn't think it was a wetland, so we just proceeded like it wasn't a wetland.
Okay. So
They-
are there any instances where we would call something a wetland even though DEC didn't, or would we be on shaky ground, so to speak?
Yikes.
I'm not a specialist, and I would assume that the people that are going out to make these determinations are more intelligent than
Or more familiar with
us that
wetlands
would be,
anyway?
yeah.
Yeah.
So with the Boer property, if you recall, the Conservation Board requested the wetland delineation, and Labella had their specialists go out and do a wetland delineation.
Yeah. Krista, the previous person in this job, was more of a wetlands she was more wetlands knowledgeable also.
Yeah.
Floodplain.
I mean, wetlands was never under my jurisdiction with the DEC, so I never really knew anything about it.
Yeah.
So now in like that same situation, you could ask the DEC to come say whether or not that's a wetland, even though the map says it's not, but you're like, oh, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
So anyone, it's not like the owner of the property.
We can request
Gotcha.
that they do it on their behalf, if that's in our permit, or in our EPOD permit, so it'd be a good thing to write in there that at
If we believe
request
something's
of the
a
town, yeah.
wetland, we would request DEC to delineate it.
Yep,
Yep. Okay,
But no matter what, they're gonna need that jurisdictional determination when they're gonna make application to the planning board. Planning board's gonna wanna see that anyway,
yeah.
whether it's a
Well,
yay or
if it
not.
appears to be a wetland.
Right,
I mean,
right.
if it's just any old property, then they don't need a delineation unless we would suspect it would be, right?
Yep,
Or if it's within so many feet of a DEC
Yeah.
designated wetland.
This is something I can Google, but I don't know who or what Labella is or does.
Engineering firm.
Yeah.
engineering firm.
A
Yeah.
privately
There are-
owned one.
Yeah,
So they're our town engineer.
Got it.
So, planning board projects that come in, we charge a deposit. I believe it's 300 or 350 anyway. A deposit fee to the applicant that submits, say, a planning board, application to do a development. For example, the Starbucks at the corner of Culver and East Ridge Road. When they make application, they pay a fee to go to the application board, pay the planning board application fee and the town engineering fee. That application goes to Labella and they give their full engineer review.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Because we don't have, some towns, municipalities have engineers on staff.
Uh-huh.
We don't. So it's like a contract out,
yeah.
Okay.
Our engineer on retainer.
yeah, amongst other things. They have various other specialties that we go to them for as well.
Okay. If after looking at the wetlands seminar, if we can access that, and after thinking about it, if people have additional questions that they want me to ask this person at the Air and Waste Management Association meeting, let me know, and I'll see if I can
Good
get
idea.
better answers.
So I just emailed the person that put the Zoom meeting together and asked if they had a PDF or a recording of the webinar that
Okay, good.
I could get. So I'll wait to hear back from her. Hopefully
Okay.
she'll get back sooner than later, so we'll see.
Okay. Any other new business?
No?
Okay. Okay, unfinished business, Treetown USA, anything new, Scott?
I'm gonna be ordering trees this week for planting this spring.
Is that for the people who like requested trees?
Yep,
Yeah.
and replacements for trees that we had to take down. Also planting about 25 in the new backyard project there. Couple at the cemetery, couple at our parks, and then the rest will be street trees. We're gonna have to take down 2 of the trees along Titus Ave here because they're just aging out and getting to the point where they're gonna be unsafe this summer once they leaf out, so we're gonna go ahead and take those down, and I got replacements coming, so we can just make the switch so people don't get upset. Yeah, so we should expect those trees end of April, once the weather breaks, and then we'll start planting early May.
Where do they come from?
They're both coming south of Buffalo. I try to get them as local as we can. There's a nursery, Schichtel's and Chestnut Ridge. They're kind of across the street from each other in Springville, US. They're just,
Yeah.
like I said, just south of Buffalo. I've had problems getting trees from like Maryland and Ohio and more southern grown trees that they just,
Yeah.
they shock.
Yeah.
More so than the trees that are grown up here.
Okay. And you said our application has been submitted to DEC and,
We're through, we're ready, and should be getting national recognition soon.
okay, is that gonna change any of the signs, or is that?
No, not
it'll-
yet.
We'll just be able to keep them up.
Yeah. We can put, I think we're coming up on 6 years, 7 years. So maybe
Okay.
after the 10th year, we can put 10 years on the signs or something.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and after that one that was knocked down a bunch of, early last year, I haven't noticed any of the other ones being knocked down, so
Good.
that's good. Okay, farmers market updates.
So that's on hold right now. I remember receiving an email from Caitlin that they're holding off with the outdoor market.
Yeah, I saw that online or something.
Yeah. So we can always think about ideas and then propose them for May when they have it back here.
Okay.
Whether, if they're gonna have it back here, if they're gonna have it back, I think it's all up in the air right now.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, as we always do, I know I can get the Monroe County recycling people to do 1 month anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we'll just have to talk about what else we want to do from there. But they're always happy to come out.
Let's see.
That's informative, so it helps.
Okay, what is it? Monthly indoor market will be held on the first Thursday of the month, March 6th and April 3rd. Goal remains to build back a weekly winter market, continue evaluating participation and see if that becomes possible in the future. We're also starting the outdoor season earlier with the first market on May 1st. So she sent a vendor application, includes updates to rules, pricing. I don't think this really applies to us, but, because we're part of the town, which I need to confirm.
So they're still on Thursdays, right?
Mm-hmm. It'll stay on Thursdays, but I think our best bet would be to come up with some ideas and then propose it for the May 1st,
Okay.
May farmer's market.
Yeah, so we'll do that. I mean, this is only February, so March or April, if people have ideas for something we want to do outside, we can do that. What we usually do is once a month, we have a table set up and we present some kind of informative, hopefully, thing. I know Jack and Steve have done birdhouse construction before.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody did something on collecting rainwater.
Composting,
Composting.
recycling.
Well, they have like a little demonstration or just pamphlets or a little bit of everything?
little
That
bit of
varies on
everything.
the topic.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
whatever. Yep.
Yep.
They actually build the birdhouses.
Yeah, I
with
seen
kids
that.
and
We've
stuff.
done that. My kids have. Yep.
Yeah. And then the rain down the drain.
Only rain down the drain. There's the watershed.
Diag.
It's like a kids. It's like a kids.
I seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Long had it.
And then they use little packages of Kool-Aid, and then they pour water, and they
Watch where it
spray it,
goes.
and they show where
Show where it
the
goes.
water actually goes. It's a water table.
There you go.
There it is. I knew it was somewhere.
That is clever.
Yeah.
Okay, oops, I just had this up here, but apparently Noelle only sent me the email, so she did say, here's her updates. her Facebook likes and follows are 943 and 977.
Yep.
Instagram follows 18. And she said, if anyone has any pictures from the Christmas tree pickup, please send them my way. Take any pictures?
Steve made me take pictures, so I sent them to Steve, and he was supposed to forward them to Noel.
Okay,
So the ball's in his court.
okay. Well, I think she only sent this to me, so I'll have to forward this to Steve. Okay. The Deer Management Program Board, even though I'm supposedly appointed, I know absolutely nothing about it still, since nobody's
Nothing
said
to
that I need
report.
to.
Yeah.
Okay,
No news is good news.
right. Okay, now, EMC report. First, I wanted to ask, has somebody been appointed now?
Yes. Alex and Steve.
Okay,
So you should be on the emailing list now.
Yep.
They'll contact you to go and get sworn in, I believe.
Oh, okay. I got a couple emails from Star,
Yes.
one of which was about everyone at that meeting having to join another committee. At least one, and those are also during like business hours. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna make that work, but I'll ask and figure it out.
Does this committee satisfy that? Because
I
we
don't-
sent somebody?
no, I think what she's saying though is that
Yeah,
there's
I can tell
committees
you
on the EMC that they want every member, probably everybody on the EMC, they want to join at least one committee.
Yeah, so they have 3 committees.
Oh, like subcommittees.
Sub.
They're-
Yes.
Oh, so you need to be a member of the committee and
Yeah.
a member of a sub? Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So there's 3 there's 3 committees, and you have to join at least one.
Does Steve get those emails too then? or-
He should, because I sent the information.
Okay,
Can you forward that to me,
Yes.
if you don't mind, so that I can review it? Well, forward it, and then I'll send it to you and Aaron,
Sure.
and then we can chat offline about it.
I mean,
That's a big commitment.
That's a big
I mean,
commitment.
maybe at some point you and Steve could communicate and maybe alternate things or something like
Still
that.
late though.
Yeah.
We could just say, rather than you or Steve being on one of those committees, the Arundecoit representative is on those committees or something. It's that
maybe.
whoever can make it, makes it maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Tough during the day.
yeah. Not a night commitment.
Yep. Nights are tough enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, the last meeting was a joint EMC Recycling Advisory Committee meeting. I guess they do that on an annual basis. So each organization, did a little presentation on what they'd accomplished for the year. The one thing that was the focus of the meeting was, I guess, Monroe County is coming up with an organics management plan to handle, food wastes and things like that. And I guess on their website, they want people to comment on their plan. So they did set up a website. I can forward people the contact to that, but it's through the Monroe County Organics Management Plan, probably .org or something like that. And they have an overview of it, and then they have 3 categories of requesting for comments: farmers, businesses, and individuals. So, and I think after everybody has a chance to look at that, they may want to hear from the Conservation Board as well, as far as what our thoughts might be on that organics management plan.
Yeah.
So if people want to take a look at that, we can talk about it. You can either just go ahead and, we can do both. You can go ahead and make your personal comments if you want, and we can talk about it next meeting as far as what we think about it.
What was the website?
Monroe County Organics Management Plan. And I think that takes you to something that's actually through, let's see here,
So would you just, so Monroe County, so just Google Monroe County.
Organics Management Plan.
Okay.
right. And I think it may actually, the website may actually be organized by Barton and LeJudas. When you go on there, I think the site that'll send you to is this.
Is there a time frame? Like
I think they had a draft that came out in the fall, and I think then they've been looking for comments. You know, I'm not really sure what the time frame is.
Like if we have, so if we give our board members a chance to review it and then come back with comments at the next meeting, is that going to be sufficient, do you think? Or
Well, I think.
Should we have
I think
an
people-
email?
I think if people have comments individually, they can fill, because one of the categories is an individual review of the material.
right, but I thought you wanted the conservation board to,
I think people can do that on their own, and then we'll talk about it at the next meeting, and maybe we'll do a conservation board one in addition to any individual ones people have done. How does that sound?
well, it sounds duplicate to me.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
If
well-
we're going to do it as a board, let's gather our thoughts on the plan and then come back and then
Okay,
present them and then draft a letter and,
okay.
Or-
I'll take a look at it again,
okay.
and just to make sure that there isn't a time frame that they have to have things by.
I mean, by all means, if you want to do it individually, that's fine. But if you're bringing up where you want conservation board comments, we should
Yeah.
do it as a group
Yep.
with
no, I
with
understand
the
what you're
board.
saying. Yep.
Okay.
So I guess they're doing that in response to a DEC new regulation that's going to require every county to do that in some way, shape, or form. So
Oh, boy.
Monroe
Okay.
County has come up with their draft plan,
Okay.
which they want, looking for comments on, and then they'll submit something to DEC formally at some point in the future.
Gotcha.
Okay. Liaison report.
I ordered 100 seedlings from the Albany DEC nursery. Every year they have, there's a seedling nursery in Albany that sells bulk trees to the entire state. Anyone can order them. I went in and I ordered 100 for myself to plant on town property. So there's an area down in the flats, I don't know if you guys know where that is, Seneca Park Ave. It's kind of where Thomas and St. Paul meet. They call it the flats because you go down there and it's flat and it's wide open. It's more of a rural area. But the town has a couple of parcels down there that just got decimated by the emerald ash borer. So there's hundreds and hundreds of standing dead ash trees. And it's usually, at least nowadays with invasive species, what pioneers after a loss like that is not what you want. It's not your oaks and maples and stuff like that. It's going to be trees of heaven and just scrub trees. So I ordered 100 trees and I plan on planting those in those areas. They're really wet because of the canopy loss, because it's a low-lying area. There's a creek that runs through there. There's actually been some beaver activity too, so I ordered some species that will do well in wet areas. American sycamore, silver maple, sweet gum, and river birch. So I don't know if you guys want to get involved in something like this and planting 100 trees. They're gonna be small. So we're gonna have to protect them, plant them, do a protective tube and a stake to hold the tube, zip tie them together, and then kind of babysit them for a few years. Otherwise, the deer will just crush them. But it's something that I certainly want to do, and if you guys want to help, I would certainly love to help, because it's going to be a big undertaking.
When were you thinking of doing that?
They're probably going to come in with all the other trees in April, but probably be looking to volunteer one Saturday or Sunday in April or early May and just knock it out, do what we can.
Yeah, I'm sure we could get a group.
Yeah. So that's,
All right, good.
I think we'll have one more meeting. We'll have our March meeting to talk about it, and probably even our April meeting, because it's going to be towards the end of April, but
Right.
something to think about. I got to figure out how I'm going to get the tubes and the zip ties and stakes and all that stuff, but
Okay.
we'll figure it out.
All right.
Sounds awesome.
Yes.
So Instagram doesn't, I'm sorry, I'm going backwards here because I'm
That's okay.
checking my notes. Instagram doesn't have any likes, does it? Do they have likes?
Just follow.
Just follows. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm not a,
Yeah, I'm
I'm
not
not
either.
a very
I
good
can't help with that one. I don't have
social
Instagram.
media.
Don't know.
Okay,
All right.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, that's okay. Strangely enough, we're pretty close to the end, I think. Well, I don't think there's anything coming up for the planning or zoning board.
No, actually,
This
the
month-
workshop meeting I canceled. Was
Yeah, I
canceled,
saw that.
not me,
Yeah,
but
I
it,
saw that.
the
You have a lot
planning
of
board
power,
workshop
Michelle.
meeting has been canceled. I do not have anything pending, right now. We may have, a regular meeting, but that depends it depends what happens at the town board
Okay.
level.
Okay, do we have we probably don't have a sign-up sheet yet for what
Oh.
months
We were
people
gonna
would.
I printed mine out.
Didn't I email it?
Yeah,
Oh,
you emailed it out. That's why I printed.
Thank you.
boy, I'm really behind on things here.
Hey, I feel your pain sometimes.
That's all right. Gary's got us. We're good.
No judgment, no judgment.
Maybe we should elect a new, well, and this past one, I guess the town planning board ended up basically approving with conditions. The conditions were that they well, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but one of the conditions was that they were going to evaluate how much, if they needed more trees to block the view from the public.
This is for 2590 Culver Road, where they're proposing the new apartment building in between Quickly's and the senior housing over there. And yes, that they infill any areas that are bare along the south lot line with landscaping for screening the spring after issuance of the C of O. So one board member brought that up, that to make sure that that screen, that south lot line, I believe it's on Whitlock Road, to make sure that there's good screening there. And that they also meet all New York State DEC requirements are met, because that is a brownfield. And
Yeah, although they said that, supposedly the only material that was ever deposited there was construction debris. So, I mean, that's usually not anything that would lead to any contamination, but they still have to develop their sampling plan. DEC has to approve their sampling plan, and they'll be doing that before they can actually start any construction, I guess.
correct.
So, I mean, we said, in our comments that we wanted to see what DEC said before we gave our approval, but I guess that's part of the board's approval.
Asphalt
then, is
related.
just making sure that they get those results, and I assume we'll have a chance to look at them before they approve them.
Remove any unsuitable soils. Soils will be tested and classified. Timeline will be submitted as to when this will occur. Will need a clearance report from New York State DEC to do anything. Ongoing monitoring will include testing and reports be submitted to DEC for compliance. Environmental clearance will be required. We'll have a passive radon grade, radon.
Oh, they said that, yeah, they were going
Radon?
to make sure, do radon testing would be part of their, in each building, I think, really.
The Robert, I believe his name was Robert Kane, said the site that is mostly affected is where they're proposing their new parking lot. If you remember it's in the middle.
Yeah,
So the three-story building is gonna be against 104,
yeah.
and then there's gonna be another building.
Yeah, there's two or
Don't
three
quote me.
along the south edge, right?
Yes.
They're small, much smaller buildings. What are they, 4 family
Yes.
buildings, something like that?
But I think there was also, you're questioning me here now, Dan. I don't remember exactly, but I believe the playground is in the middle as well.
Yeah,
And the board had concerns regarding the playground that they're gonna be installing over there as well, so. But again, that's all gonna have to be DEC approval,
right.
complied.
Their
Before-
concerns were the location of the playground or what was underneath the playground?
I think they were concerned about, for some reason, I'm not sure why, to be honest with you, they were concerned about how long the playground equipment was guaranteed for and how long the
The planning
surface
board.
material was good.
So they had to submit specs
For the playground.
on the playground material.
Okay.
Do I have those upstairs if you ever want to see them?
Yeah, one thing that I thought was a little, not that it had anything to do with approval or not, but it was a little almost counterproductive from an environmental standpoint is, I guess, the DOT, county DOT maybe, required that they do solid surface asphalt rather than
Pavers
porous pavers that would,
for the road that connects to the senior housing.
In the back?
Yep, because there's pavers. So when RMI built the Hulda Park development, it was before the board, and there's an fire department access road that goes out to, I can't think of the street that's on there, Joe Labini lives on,
Cashmere Circle? Cashmere Lane.
somewhere back there. And pavers were requested for that access. So this access, they went to asphalt that was the fire marshal.
okay, yeah.
Maybe because it's a longer
Didn't want it
road.
to or maybe he thought it would settle or something.
I thought
Didn't want-
this road in this development is twice as long as the road, the fire access road in the first development. So,
All right.
That's
well,
what they went with.
For whatever reason, they went with
That's what they
asphalt
went with.
instead of pavers.
yep.
Okay, I don't know, was there anything else significant about that from our standpoint? I can't remember.
Nope, I'm actually looking at my minutes, my notes. They need to address any open comments from Labella, the town engineer in Monroe County Planning and Development. 20-foot poles with shields at the southern parking lot line be installed, and then any signage would need to return to the planning board for approval. That's all I really have.
Okay. All right. Did you
Any-
have anything else, Alex? Do you think that they addressed, your comments?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions about anything we talked about for anybody that's new?
Well, Were we gonna sign up for the planning board? Remember, we were talking about that. Do we wanna do that tonight or tomorrow or? not
Sure,
tomorrow,
if you
next
wanna, if you wanna send it around.
Okay,
Of course, everybody's not here.
Oh,
And Steve Noel and
the only next ones, I mean, if there's one on the 224, but we're not sure on February 24th, correct?
if there is, it won't be, I don't believe,
There won't be anything that impacts us, right?
no, it's not an E-Pod.
All right, so then why don't we wait till the next meeting
Wait,
to do
okay.
that?
Yep.
Hopefully more of us will be here.
Nope, sounds good.
And I'll add it on here, add. Planning board sign-up sheet.
you'll remember.
My goal is to get these out sooner than later as well. So I will mark them draft.
Yep.
And I'll
Okay.
email them all to the board so that we,
Oh, you mean the minutes?
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, sure. Of course, the December ones you didn't have much control of. I got them to you like a month and a half later.
And I just typed them up quick tonight.
I know. Okay, unless anybody else has anything else, I guess that's it.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.